Hey everybody, it's Miss Beck here, and today we're going to use our shapes to do patterns. So before we get started, we need to talk about the definition of a pattern. Boys and girls, a pattern is something that repeats itself. So by the word repeat, I mean something that says it over and over again. Okay, so like if your mom repeats herself, then she says something over and over again. But with a pattern, it can repeat itself and we can have different types of pattern. Like for example, we can have color patterns or shape patterns. There's patterns all around us. So just for a minute before we start, I would like you to think of some patterns that you have seen before. Perhaps maybe some animals that have a pattern. Take a couple minutes and think of something you've seen before that is in a pattern. Well, hopefully you've had just a minute to think. One animal that comes to mind with me is a zebra. What kind of pattern does a zebra have? Black, white, black, white. Another thing that has a pattern often is people's clothing. They might have different stripes on there, or their clothing might have different color patterns. So patterns can really be all around us. Sometimes patterns can be in nature, outside. So boys and girls, you can always look all around for patterns. Maybe when you go outside this afternoon, you can see if you see any things that are patterns outside. So today we're going to talk about patterns, and this is just patterns with shapes. So before we get started, let's talk about our different shape names. So the first shape I have here is Ricky the rectangle. Ricky the rectangle has how many sides? 4. 2 sides are short and 2 sides are long. All right. Here is Tammy the triangle. How many sides does Tammy the triangle have? 3. 1, 2, 3. Here is Sammy the square. How many sides does Sammy the square have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is Cindy circle. How many sides does Cindy circle have? 0. Goes around and around and around. Here is Henry hexagon. How many sides does Henry hexagon have? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Henry hexagon has 6. Okay, boys and girls, let's take a look at a pattern. So I'm going to do a pattern with triangles. And I want you to see if you can figure out what kind of pattern I am doing. Let's see, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 6 triangles. 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so here is my pattern. So I'm going to lay it out this way. Okay, boys and girls, the first shape in my pattern is a triangle. And this triangle is facing upright. Okay, so we have an upright triangle. Okay, so green, upright triangle. The next one in my pattern is a green downward triangle. The next one is a green upward triangle. The next one is a green downward triangle. And the next one is a green upward triangle. So boys and girls, can we say the pattern? Upward triangle, downward triangle. Upward triangle, downward triangle. Upward triangle. What would come next? That's right, a downward triangle. Okay, let me show you another pattern. Now, there are two different types of patterns that we're talking about with our shapes today. One is a growing pattern and one is a repeating pattern. So I'm not going to tell you which kind it is yet, but think about repeating as one that goes over and over with the same thing. And think about growing as something that gets bigger and bigger, okay? So before we get done, I will have shown you both types of patterns. So be thinking about what kind this is, okay? So for this next pattern, I need squares. So I'm gonna get my orange squares and I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so this is how my pattern goes. And I need my marker. So the first item in our pattern is a square. One orange square. There's one orange square. The next item in my pattern is 2 orange squares. And then the next item in my pattern is 3 orange squares. So we have 1 orange square, 2 orange squares, and 3 orange squares. Any idea what would come next? 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be 4. I'm sorry, that looks more like a rectangle. That would be 4 orange squares. Okay, so in terms of a growing pattern or a repeating pattern, the one with the triangles, what type of pattern do you think that is? Let's say it again. Upward triangle, downward triangle. Upward triangle, downward triangle. Upward triangle, downward triangle. If you said repeating pattern, you are right because it repeats the same thing over and over again. And it goes in a predictable way. So every time after a upward triangle, there comes a downward triangle. Now, let's think about the other kind is a growing pattern. So this one is a growing pattern. Can you think about a reason why we would call this a growing pattern? Growing means that something's getting bigger. So it starts out with 1 here, and then it goes with 2, and then it goes with 3, and then it goes with 4. Each time it's getting a little bit bigger. It's growing just like stair steps, okay? So we have 2 different types of patterns that we've talked about today. The first one is a repeating pattern, and that's this guy right here. And then the second one is a growing pattern. It's this one right here. What I'd like you to do now is I would like you to think of some of the examples that you gave with those patterns and think about if the ones you talked about were a growing pattern or a repeating pattern. So for example, if I did the black, white of the zebra, that would be what type of pattern? It would be a repeating pattern, black, white, black, white. So now I'm going to show you a pattern, okay? And I want you to decide if your pattern that I'm showing you is a growing pattern or a repeating pattern. And I want you to tell your grown-up or your teacher how you know it is a pattern, okay? Then I'm going to give you an opportunity to make some patterns using the blocks that you have in your manipulatives box and using blocks here at school. If you don't have enough blocks when you're at home with those blocks right there, you can always make part of the pattern and then you can draw the other part, or you can use something other than the blocks. Many other things make pattern. For example, on our math home links, we have a suggestion of making a pattern with food using cereal and crackers that are different shapes. Making a pattern with pasta, and then asking the family member to figure out what the pattern is. Okay, so boys and girls, Miss Bex will make a pattern, and let's see if you can figure out what type of pattern it is and why it is a pattern. Okay, so here's my pattern. Triangle. Circle. Rectangle. Triangle. Circle. All right, can you say my pattern with me? Triangle, circle, rectangle. Triangle, circle, rectangle. What shape would come next? A triangle. So boys and girls, do you think that this is a repeating pattern or a growing pattern? Is it getting bigger or are we having the same things over and over again? You said it was a repeating pattern. Give yourself a thumbs up. Now, I would like you to make a pattern using your blocks or other materials, and I would like you to tell your grown-up what type of pattern you made and see if they can figure out what the next item would be in your pattern. Thank you for stopping by for Miss Beck's Math, and happy counting, happy shape recognizing, and I hope that everybody will have a wonderful day, a wonderful Wednesday. And in Miss Beck's class, we call Wednesday Hump Day. And that means because it's in the middle of the week and we are over the hump of the week of our learning. And it's really cool because hump was something that was in our shape. So remember when we had our shapes that we were drawing? A hump was the one that went like that, like a camel hump. And then the cup was the one that went like that. So happy hump day to you on Wednesday. And I hope you will have a great day. And don't forget to show your grown-up your pattern. If you're at home and when you show that grown-up that pattern, please have the grown-up snap a picture of the pattern. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.